This year today is the church and the mosque kosher for non-Jews. So if you take a look at your sheet, some people say, don't confuse me with the facts, my mind is made up. There's sheets are clipped together, right, Chava? You have them. Side A, where it's underlined in yellow. The Kosher, who's the Rabbeinu Yitzchak, is Rashi's grandson, a brother of the Rabbeinu Tam. You know, all the Balatosfot were Rashi's grandchildren. So you have it in yellow, Professor Chai. You see that? The Kosher, Rabbeinu Yitzchak, one of the great Balatosfot, the Rebbe, the brother of the Rabbeinu Tam. Ki yesh heter echad bizman hazeh. There is a heter. What do you say heter in English, Avram?
Permission.
There's a permission today, when he's writing this in the 1100s. Ki yesh heter echad bizman hazeh. When he was writing this, Chava, there was only Catholicism. There wasn't Protestantism. There's only Catholicism. It says heter bizman hazeh ki nishboyin b'kadoshim shelahem. Even though the Christians swear by their holy saints, Hanikra Avan Giloyon, that is called Avan Giloyon. What it means by that? Avan Giloyon means revealed sin. I don't know what that means. Ve'ein Tovsim Behen Elahut. And they don't consider it as actual gods, they're saints. Afal Pi Shemaskirin Shem Shemayim. Even though when they swear, they mention the name of heaven. The Christians do. The kavanatam, what's the next word, Yehuda? The kavanatam, liyeshu hanotzri. This is the uncensored version of the Ri. So when they swear, they mean Shem Shemayim, even though their intention is for Yisha hanotzri, right? Jesus. Mikol makaim. Listen to this, Avram. Mikol makaim, ein maskirin Shem avodah zarah. Even though they mean Yeshu, they don't mention the name of Avodah Zarah. But I thought that Jesus is Avodah Zarah. Here's Professor Chaya. Mikol makom ein maskirin Shem Avodah Zarah. Even though they mean Yeshu Hanotzri, says the Ri, and this is the Rabbeinu Tam's opinion also as well, they don't mention the name of Avodah Zarah. But isn't JC the name of Avodah Zarah?
Yeah.
But the Rabbi says for us, but not for them.
No.
The Gam, look at the words. Look at the words. Mikol makom ein maskirin Shem avodah zarah. The Gam daton lo seshmayim v'aretz, because even though they mean JC, they also mean the Creator of heaven and earth. V'af al gaf the mishtatfin Shem shemayim v'dover achar, even though they are, how do you say shituv Avram? Shituv, partnership, God with someone else, right? Shituv, shituv, right? Partnership or dualism, right? Collective. Afagavte mishtatfin Shem shemayim adover acher, even though they are mishtatev, they make God a partner with the Trinity. Loi matzino sha'asa ligroi macherim shatev. We don't find that who are the acherim, Chava. Non-Jews, we don't find that non-Jews are not allowed to believe in Shituf. Yiddish? So the Rabbeinu Tam, the Ri, and we see still the Rabbeinu Tam and the Ramah Paschals like that non-Jews are, for us, it's Avodah Zarah.
Jews.
For Jews, it's Avodah Zarah. But La'acherim, non-Jews, they are permitted to believe in what? In the Trinity and dualism. The Gam Mishim, that's why I made the paper. You shouldn't think I'm off the wall. The Gam Mishim Lifnei Ivel Letite Mirshal Leko. And therefore, we're not over Lifnei Ivel Letite Mirshal, because a non-Jew is permitted to believe in Christianity. Why? Avram, why? The Lo Yiziru B'nei Noach Ala Shituv. Because B'nei Noach, non-Jews are not warned against Shituv. For us to believe in dualism or Trinity, for us it's Avodah Zarah. But the Rabbeinu Tam and the Rabbeinu Yitzchak and the Ramah all agree, and so Tosos and Bechorot, that B'nei Noach lo yizaru el shituf, that non-Jews are not commanded against shituf. As long as they believe in God, even though they believe in J.C. Penney as well, but they believe in God, for us it's Avodah Zarah. But for non-Jews, says the Ri, Rabbeinu Tam, and the Ramah, for non-Jews it's not considered... It's not considered what? Avodah Zarah. For us it is, but not for them. So here you have an open psak, and the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kof Non Vav, agrees. The Ramah, our Ashkenazi posek, quotes the Ri and the Rabbeinu Tam that the Bnei Noach are not commanded to believe in Shituf. So even though for us it's Avodah Zarah, for a non-Jew to believe in Christianity is not considered what? Idolatry. So a non-Jew who believes in Christianity can still be considered what, Abraham? A righteous Gentile. Really? Isn't that amazing? So for them it's kosher. Now, the Rambam disagrees. The Rambam disagrees. He says Christianity is Avodah Zarah even for non-Jews. Yep. The Bala Tosfos write to him. He's right. The letters are there. You go to JTS Library. The Bala Tosfos write to him. You don't know, Rambam. You live in a Muslim country. Yeah, don't tell us, says the Rashi's grandchildren, the Bala Tosfos, don't tell us that Christianity for non-Jews is Avodah Zarah. We know that they're allowed to believe in that. But the Rambam's opinion is that it is Avodah Zarah. But the Bala Tosfot say that you don't really know them.
They were living in Christian countries.
They were living in Germany and France. So they wrote to the Rambam, mind your own business. They use strong language there. Don't tell us. We know that Christianity for non-Jews is Beseder. Even though the Rambam says for non-Jews it's also Avodah Zarah. Baruch Hashem, everybody agrees. Baruch Hashem, everybody agrees, Reb Shalom, that Christianity for Jews is what? No good. Avodah Zarah. Baruch Hashem, we all agree on that. Thank God. The machlokas is, what about Christianity for non-Jews? Rambam says Christianity for non-Jews is also Avodah Zarah. Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbeinu Yitzchak, and the Ramah, our postkik and Shulchan Aruch, say that Christianity for Jews is Avodah Zarah, but Christianity for non-Jews, for them it's okay. Let's read it again. Chava, you can read Hebrew. Yeah. Because of Ri, ki yesh heter. Bizman hazeh. Ki nishba'in. Ba'kedoshim shelahem. What's the kedoshim shelahem? They're saints, right? Hanikra oven galoim, which is called open sin. Well, I don't know what he means by that. They ain't tofsim ben elohus, and yet they don't consider the saints real gods. The Alpha Pishem Askirin Shem Shemayim. They mention the name of heaven. The Kavanosam Yisha Notri, but they mean Yisha Jason. Mikol Makon. What's Mikol Makon mean? Even so, Ain. What's the next word? Chava.
Mazkirin.
Shame Avodah Zarah. That's not for them Avodah Zarah. The Gam Data Losa Shemayim Boret. Because even though they mean JC, they also mean what, Abraham?
Real God.
The real God. Right? Even though they partner God with someone else, Yashka, we don't find that the Acherim or the Acherim non-Jews, that they have no problem to believe in Shituf. We're not over lifnei evil lisita mirsha. Why? Avram, read on the low. The low is his hahu bnei Noach ala shituf. Goyim are not commanded against shituf. They can believe in the Trinity. Atkan. What does Ayin Kof mean? Atkan. Atkan. Case closed. Okay. The Rambam disagrees, but this is the psak of the Ashkenazim Balatosfos, and this is the psak of the Ramah. Orachaim Kufnun Vav, Paskins like the Ri and the Rabbeinu Tam, that Bnei Noach lo hizaru ala shituf. Bnei Noach, non-Jews, are not commanded, they are allowed to leave in shituf means the Trinity. Okay? For us it's Avodah Zarah, for non-Jews it's kosher. Rambam disagrees. So Balatosfos write him letters, you can see the letters in JTS Library, where he says that you don't know, and don't mix in, you live in a Muslim country, this is our psak. Okay? The Bala Tosfot, Rashi's grandchildren, okay? And the Ramah follows them. Yes?
And the Bala Tosfot wrote this before the Crusades, right?
They wrote this during the Crusades, in the 1100s. Rabbeinu Tam was almost murdered in the Crusades. Yeah, okay. Rabbeinu Tam's life was spared by a nobleman. A French nobleman came and he saved his life at the last minute. But they suffered from the Crusades. And yet they said that, but this is the psak halacha that they gave. And therefore, if they touch the wine, if the wine is not yayin esach, right?
Because they're dealing with
right, that's right. The Rambam hold it is yayin esach, and they said, don't mix in our business. We know them, and it's not, for them it's kosher to believe in that, and therefore, when they touch the wine, it's not yayin esach.
So Sephardim,
The Rabbeinu, what?
Sephardim,
follow the Rambam, which that Christianity is avodah zarah. But we are Ashkenazic, and we have no choice but to follow the Ramah, the Rabbeinu Tam, and the Ri. And therefore, I made these copies. I underlined it in yellow. Okay? Let's go to source number 1. This is the uncensored version of the Gemara in Sanhedrin. Source number 1, Avram. No, I think it's page 1. It says it's page 1. It says number 1. Don't mix me up. I'm mixed up enough as it is. It's
page 1, but it's page 2.
No, it's page number. It says number 1. This is the uncensored version of the Sanhedrin Mem Gimel. This is taken out. Art Scroll doesn't have this, Avram. And the regular Vilna Shas doesn't have it. But who put it back? Steinsaltz. Baruch Hashem. Steinsaltz put it back. Take a look where it's underlined, the Gemara. I think it's in yellow. You have the Gemara there?
Yeah.
Gemara. V'hotanya be'erev Pesach. What's the next word, Avram? V'hotanya be'erev Pesach. Tolo liyishay hanotzri. Isn't that incredible? You won't find this in the Art Scroll or the Vilna Shas.
Really?
This was taken out and Steinsaltz put it back. I wonder who took it out. The Erev Pesach, they hung Yisha hanotzri. Yiddish? Va'kruz yotchelofanav arboim yom. And in Jewish law, when they would execute somebody, they would have an announcer announce the guy's sentence, why he's being executed in his name. And what would they announce, Avram? Yisha hanotzri yotze li sokel, Yiddish, al shekishe v'histis v'hidiach et Yisrael. Yisha hanotzri is going to be stoned because he practiced black magic, and also it was mesis and mediach. How do you say mesis and mediach in English? A missionizing. Right? Missionary. Isn't that correct? This is the uncensored version. Kol mi sheyedeya lo yischus yovi lamed olav. Anyone that can what? Find a merit for him should come and what?
Please show up.
Show up. V'lo yimotze lo yischus. V'lo yimotze lo yischus. They couldn't find any merit. V'tolo be'erev HaPesach. And they what? And they hung him on Erev Pesach. So according to this uncensored version of Gemara, who executed him?
The Romans.
The Sanhedrin. Take a look.
But that's not one of the
The Sanhedrin. Very good question. Hanging is not one of the Arba Misas Bezdin. Hanging is not one of the Arba Misas Bezdin. So what does the Gemara mean that the Sanhedrin hung him? That's not one of the Arba Misas Bezdin, right, Avram? The Skila, Sreif, Herig, the Chenek, and hanging is not one of them. So what does the Gemara mean over here? What does the Gemara mean over here that they hung him? Okay? So for that we have to go to what? Side number what? Side number 2.
back of that same.
The back. Look at the back of that. It says number 2 on it, Rambam. This is the uncensored version of the Rambam. You read the regular Rambam, you won't find this. This is the uncensored version of the Rambam. Shoftim Hilchas Malachim, Perigud Aleph. You have it, Avram? It says side number 2.
Yeah.
Af, what's the next word, Avram? Af, Yeshua HaNotzri. Jesus, Shedimo Shehu Mashiach. He thought that he is the Mashiach. Venerag, Abraham, Venerag. Incredible. The Rambam had the uncensored version of the Gemara. That the Romans didn't execute him. Don't tell Mel Gibson. That the Romans didn't execute him. The Bezdin executed him. You hear this? The Rambam had this, is the uncensored version of the Rambam. Top line, side number 2. Af Yeshua HaNotzri, Shedima Shehi Mashiach. He thought that he's the Messiah. Nerag beBezdin. He was executed by the Bezdin. Kvan Nisnava boy Doniel. The prophet Doniel already prophesied about JC. Avram, see this? Shenema, there's a pasuk in Doniel, chapter 14. Have it? Ubenei Peritzei Amcha Yinasu Lahamed Chazon. the children of the porits of your people. What's porits mean? Those that break down barriers of your people. Yinasu lahamud chazon. They will have visions. They will have visions. You hear this? V'nechshalu, and they will a stumbling block. V'chiyesh michshal godol mizeh. Can there be a greater stumbling block than what? Than JC. Shekol hanaviyim dibru shemashiach goyel Yisrael Mashiach. All of the prophets prophesied that the Messiah will come and redeem Israel and save them. Umekabetz nidcheyem, and he will gather. The real Messiah will gather all of those people that are what? Spread out. Umechazek mitzvot, and he will strengthen mitzvot. V'zeh, and this one, Rambam, this is the uncensored version. You won't find this in the regular Rambam. V'zeh, and this one, Goram, he caused la'abed Yisrael b'cheret. He caused the Jewish people to be destroyed by the sword. Ulefazer sheritam lashpilam, and to be scattered and to become low and persecuted. Ulahachlif Torah, and JC caused, what do you say? Lahachlif, how do you say hachlif Torah? To change the Torah.
To exchange it.
To exchange it. Ulahato is roiva alam, and to make the majority of the world. Hatot, what does hatot mean? Taut. Mistake. Lavoit elahai mimlad Hashem, to serve a false god, not the real God. Yeah.
So why should?
See, so the Rambam considers it as Christianity avodah zarah. But now he asks, why did God allow this heresy? Aval, you see the next paragraph, Avram? Aval machshava is boira olam. What does that mean? The thoughts of the creator of the universe. Ein koach ba'adam lasigam. No human mind can grasp what God has in mind. Ki loy derchenu derachav. Our ways are not. He's quoting Isaiah, Avram. Ki loy derchenu derachav. Our ways are not his ways. V'lo machshavotenu machshavotav. And our thoughts are what? Why would God allow Christianity to arise if it caused so much damage to the world? Why did God allow this? So he's dealing with that over here. V'chol atvarim ha'elu, and all of these things. What's the next word, Avram? Shel Yeshua HaNotzri, JC v'shel zeh Yishmaeli, and who's the Yishmaeli? Muhammad. Shomad Achrav, that rose up after him. Why did God allow it, Avram? Einon ela liyasher derech lamelech HaMoshiach. Christianity and Islam somehow is going to pave the way for what? For Mashiach. What? Uletaken olam kulo. How do you say tiken olam in English? To fix the world, lavod et Hashem biyachad. Shenemar, there's a pasuk in the Navi. There's a pasuk in the Navi, right? Ki oz, then when Mashiach comes, epach el echad amim, sofa brura, I will change over to all the nations. Maza sofa brura, Avrams. Clear language. Likroy kulam, b'shem Hashem. All of them will call the name of God. Ula'avdoi shechem echad. What does Shechem mean, Hebrew, Avram? What does Shechem mean? Shoulder. Shoulder to shoulder, shoulder. Standing shoulder to shoulder. So when Mashiach comes, will the whole world become Jewish? Avram, no. Keep the seven, go to heaven. Somehow that Christianity and Islam is going to pave the way for what?
Mashiach.
For Melech HaMashiach.
So that means we're not doing our job?
Why is that?
Is that because we're not doing our job?
Why did God, and how is Christianity and Islam somehow paving the way for Melech HaMashiach? Ketzad. Kvar nismala olam kuloi medivra Mashiach. The whole world is buzzing with talk of Mashiach. Before JC and before Islam, the whole world was barbarians, right? They were worshipping sticks and stones, swinging from the vines, right? Savages. But when JC came and Muhammad came, there is talk of what? Of what? Of humanity. the belief in what? In salvation. People should be better and kinder to each other. There will be a Mashiach. U'medivrei HaTorah. Right? They believe in the Old Testament. Even the Muslims believe in the Old Testament. U'medivrei HaTorah. U'medivrei HaMitzvot. Right? Christianity and Islam is based on the Old Testament. Upashtu devarim elu be'iyam rechokim. And even in, what's iyam rechokim mean, Avraham? Even in Tahiti. The whole world knows about the Old Testament. They know there's a Torah. They know there's a revelation. The whole world believes in that. Uba'amim rabim arelei leiv. V'heim nosim v'nostim b'dvarim elu. Mitzvah Torah. The whole world knows there's a Torah. Elu amrim. What do the Christians say and the Muslims say? Mitzvahs elu emet haya. They say these mitzvahs of the Torah are true. Ukvar botlu b'zman hazeh. You hear? But what do they say? It's what? It's bottled. Of course they're wrong, but at least they believe that there was a Torah. They believe that there will be a Savior. Mankind will be saved. There is a higher calling. They're no longer savages. So the Rambam is saying that what? That somehow Christianity and Islam is part of God's plan, Professor Chaya, the long and winding road that will wind up with Mashiach. So when Mashiach does come, the whole world will already be ready to accept it because they were taught that there is going to be a Savior. And that's what Christianity and that's what Islam accomplished. Okay? It's all part of Hashem's plan. This is the uncensored version of the Rambam. Now what about hanging? We know in Jewish law, hanging is not one of the Arba Misas Bezdin. So what do you mean that what does the Rambam mean that they hung him? The Gemara said they hung him. Look at the last page, please. This is from Devarim, Parshas Kiteitzei. Devarim, Parshas Kiteitzei. You see that, Abraham? Hanging is not one of the Arba Misas Bezdin. But look at Pasuk Chav Bet. You with me? You have on the last page. Devarim Kiteitzei. You have it, Yehuda? You have it, Yael, no? Pasuk Chav Bet. V'chiyeh b'ish chet mishpat moves. When a person will have a capital judgment crime of execution against him, v'humat, he will be put to death, v'tilisa oto al eitz. After he's executed, you shall hang up the body. In Jewish law, there was no hanging a live person of them. No. But someone who's chayiv skila, it ain't over till it's over. The dead body was what was hung up in in what kind of position? In what kind of position? The talisa oitalates. Hanging is not one of the 4 death penalties, but in Jewish law, when a person was stoned to death for blasphemy or being a meses a mediach, or to Michilu Shabbat, then the dead body was hung up after he's dead. But in what position was the dead body hung up, Abraham? I don't know if you should publicize this or not. Look at Unkelus. You want to read Abraham Unkelus Chav Bet? Unkelus Chav Bet. I think it's underlined in yellow, no? V'are yehei b'gvar choivas din tiktoil. Unkelus. When a person has a din tiktoil, what does that mean, Abraham? A judgment to be executed. I'm reading Unkelus. He's katel and he's executed. What do you do with the dead body? V'titzloiv yosa al tzeliva. Professor Chai, you getting this? V'titzloiv yosa al tzeliva.
To hang him on a cross or something like that.
That's what it says. Tzeliva means a cross.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Oh, you know. Anybody know Aramaic here? Anybody know Hebrew here? Nobody? What does tzeliva mean? Slav means a cross. Isn't that incredible, Avram? Are you with me or against me on this? Take a pill and lie down. So in Jewish law, when a person was executed by stoning, the body was hung up in a T position. Isn't that incredible? We never hung up a live person. Never. After he was stoned, for a short while, the body was hung up in this saliva cross position for a short while. But never was a live person hung up like this. Look at Pasuk Chav Gimel. Loitolin of losai alohates, do not allow the dead body to hang overnight. Ki kovar tigberenu bayoim ahu. Because the executed criminal must be buried when? On the same day that he killed him before that. Why? Ki kilas alhim tolui. It is a curse for God to let the dead body hang. So the criminal who was stoned to death was hung up in a T position for a short while and then taken down before sunset because it's a curse for God to let the dead body hang in that position. So the Gemara Sanhedrin says, once he's executed, why do you have to hang up the body for? So the Talmud Sanhedrin, Abba Berkowitz gives two reasons. He was hung up with a sign on him that this guy was executed for committing blasphemy or avodah zarah or being a Mesias Mediach. So it was as a deterrent to warn others, and also the Talmud says the crime he committed was so heinous. What's the word? Heinous or heinous? Heinous that the Misa, the death sentence, is still not enough. The neshama has to go through the additional agony of seeing the body hung up in this degraded position, and that completes the kapara. So it ain't over till it's over. Blasphemy, avodah zarah, chilul Shabbat, is such a terrible crime that even when the prisoner is executed by stoning Avram, it's not the end of the story. The dead body must be hung up for a short while in this position in order to complete the atonement. The neshama has to suffer this additional anguish of seeing the body in such a degraded state, and that completes the kapara. But it's amazing pasuk here, you can't leave the dead guy hanging because it's a curse for God. Now what do you mean it's a curse for God? What do you mean it's a curse for God, Amram? What does that mean? Very strange Rashi over here. See Rashi, Talisa Osa Al-Eitz, I'm reading Rashi. Is it highlighted in yellow? I don't know.
Yes.
Rabbi Seinu Amru, Kol Eskolinit, anyone that's stoned is hung up. Okay? The next Rashi, Chav Gimel, is that underlined in yellow? No?
Yeah, some of it is.
Kikilas him talu, it's a curse for God to let the person what? Remain hanging. But it's amazing, they hung him up in the tzliva position. That's just incredible. The Romans perverted and they hung up a live person in that position. We never hung up a live person. It was only an executed criminal after he's dead. But look at Rashi Chav Gimel. You have that, Yehuda? Rashi Chav Gimel. Kikilas alhim talui. Why is it a curse for God to leave this guy hanging? Anybody want to read that Rashi? Avram. Avram, you have it? Zulzuloi shel melechu. It is a bizoyon for the King of Kings. You have it, Rabbi? I think it's on the line in yellow. Sha'adam also b'nis b'leiknoi. The human being is made what? In the image of God. V'Yisrael heim banav. And we are considered what? God's children. So God says, don't allow this criminal, don't allow him to hang overnight. It's a shanda. How do you say shanda in English? It's a shame for the king because we are made in the image of God. Right? Moshel, Rashi is a frightening moshel. I don't want to read it. Maybe you want to read it, Chava? I can't read this. Remember the prince and the pauper? Remember the prince and the pauper? Moshel lishnei achim ta'omim. Rashi gives a frightening analogy. Yehuda, Sonia. Rashi gives a frightening analogy. Moshel lishnei achim ta'omim. Two identical twins. Are you getting this? Shoyadomim zeh lezeh. Two identical twins. You couldn't tell them apart. I went to yeshiva with two guys like that. Even the teacher couldn't tell them apart. I could. Echad nasa melech. One of the twins grew up to be what? King. And the other twin grew up to be the head of the mafia, and he was caught, and he was what? Executed in Itla. Kol haroyoto, Avram. Kol haroyoto. Anyone who sees the mobster hanging, what will he say? Omer hamelech tovi. Yiddish? The king is hanging. So the king commanded and said what? Cut him down. Professor Chai is very frightening moshel. Rashi is saying that we are God's twin, Avram. That's what Rashi's saying. That we resemble God, that we are God's twin, and therefore even a criminal, his body has to be cut down before sunset, because people will point and say,
the king.
The king is hanged.
Dead. The king is dead.
Long live the king.
They'll say the king is dead.
Frightening Rashi. I don't understand this, Chaya, Professor. Ani mamin. Ein loida mutaguf, ein no guf. What does that mean?
There is no
Ein
God.
loida mutaguf, ein no. God is not. God is not physical. Avram.
He's not physical.
So it's a very frightening Rashi over here. Help! Yuda, I'm stuck over here. Frightening Rashi. What do you mean made in God's image? Made in God's image means, Avram, that we have intellect, we have Bechira Chafshis, free will, we can choose between good and evil. That's what Tzelem Elohim means. But Rashi seems to be taking it literally. Help me, Yael, help me. Very frightening Rashi. That's why I didn't want to read it, Avram. I didn't want to read it. But I made it for you. Maybe someone else can explain it to you. But here's a Rashi saying that two identical twin brothers, that we and God are like identical twins. And therefore, the criminal has to be cut down because the king doesn't want the busha. The king commanded, and they cut him down. But we believe that God is not physical. One of the animamins, that God is not physical. Help me, Sonia, help me.
Maybe it means because every Jew has a chelek of Hashem.
No.
So how can a chelek of Hashem, part of the neshama, come to that point that it denies Hashem?
But you see, people are so wicked.
Right. So if it's possible to deny Hashem from neshama like this,
Right.
push it to Hashem. Somehow it also pulls down Hashem.
Okay.
But also anything bad that happens to Jews also happens to God.
Okay. But why is it a curse for God to let the dead body hang? I mean, if we are only made in God's image, it's not to be taken literally. It means our intellect, our free will, to choose between right and wrong.
But somebody chose wrong.
So it's still a busha for God, even though it's not in the physical sense we're made in His image. Is that what Rashi is saying?
But we're not made in His image physically.
So why can not this guy be allowed to hang?
Because it's a holy vessel. The body's a holy vessel.
Because the body contained the godly soul, even of this wicked person?
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, very good. I hear what you're saying.
Very good.
I hear what you're saying. Okay?
You're supposed to treat it like you're supposed to eat food that makes it holy. You're supposed to,
Right.
mikvah, whatever you do, you're supposed to make it holy.
The body was the vessel that contained the godly soul. Even the body of a wicked person contained the godly soul. Right? That's what Sonia said.
But also, you know what, we as
He
parents...
clarified, Sonia, what you said.
Right, it's an attitude, but, you know, we as parents take responsibility.
What?
We as parents...
Parents, yeah.
Take responsibility for what our children do. We have free will and all of that.
Right.
And yet, God forbid, if they do something wrong, we feel responsible. And it's our responsibility, it's our favor.
Okay.
So maybe if a Jew fails to such a degree, Hashem somehow reflects better what Hashem obviously.
Wow. Sonia's saying something very deep. Can I just explain what you're saying? A parent has a few children, right? And one of them is very, very bad. The one that's very bad, the parent feels guilty, right? Maybe I didn't give him the proper chinuch. Maybe it's my fault that he turned out wicked and corrupt. If I gave him the proper chinuch, maybe he wouldn't be that way. I hear what you're saying. So Kodesh Baruch Hu somehow feels Kaviochel responsible. His children, right? So it reflects negatively Kaviochel on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Very deep what you're saying, Sonia. Very deep what you're saying. Wow. So Yitzchak Avinu, he knew that Esav was a Rasha. He didn't throw him out of the house, did he?
No.
He didn't reject him, Maddie. He kept him around. He felt responsible. It's amazing that Rashi says that Esav's wives worshipped Avodah Zarah, and the incense smoke made Yitzchak blind. So why not kick him out of the house, Professor? Why not kick him out of the house? Yitzchak didn't. Like Sonia said, maybe he felt guilty. Maybe if I treated him differently and gave him a different chinuch, he wouldn't turn out to be Esav or Rasha. So he kept him close, even despite that his wives were burning getchkis, incense of Avodah Zarah that made Yitzchak blind. He did not kick them out of the house, because somehow he felt responsible. Very good. Yes, Dr. Hackett.
From this we learn out the issue of Darina Tameh.
Right. That you can't leave a body overnight.
Criminal is not allowed to hang out.
Beautiful.
And an ordinary person also has to be buried before.
That's right. And therefore, you look at the verse very carefully, and keep in mind, Sonia, there are no extra words in the Torah. Like, Tolin evlosei aloetz. What's the next word? You see that? Ki kovar tigbarenu bayoim ahu. Bury him, you shall bury him on the same day. Why is it written twice, bury?
They sure you do it.
So the Talmud learns, even if the guy is not a criminal, that a dead person must be buried in the ground. It's written twice. Ki kava, if it was written only one, Abraham, I would think only a criminal has to be buried in the ground. Maybe a person who's not a criminal can be cremated. So the Talmud says in an extra word, kavar tigbarenu, bury him, not just a criminal, but any person who dies, there's a positive mitzvah to what? To bury him in the ground. Otherwise, the extra word bury Yehuda is superfluous or redundant, and there was no such thing. So there's a positive mitzvah to bury a person in the ground, even though he left tzavah. To cremate him, you're not allowed to listen.
Left instructions to go to.
You're not allowed to listen. It's a positive mitzvah to bury a person what? In the ground. And the Nachmanides says that there's a mitzvah for a Jew to bury a non-Jew in the ground. Now, burial in the ground is not one of 7 Noachide laws. But there's a mitzvah for a Jew not just to bury a fellow Jew in the ground, but also a non-Jew. Kikova tigbarenu. According to the Zohar, it's actually a pasuk in Koheles. Koheles, only when the body is put back in the ground naturally, only then can the soul return to God. The longer you delay burial, the more anguish the soul has. Bayoim ahu, the greatest chesed you can do for a dead guy is what? Bury him immediately in the ground. Because Koheles says that only when the body's put back in the ground, naturally, only then can the neshama what? Return to God who gave her. It's a pasuk in Kohelet. So delaying burial is terrible anguish for the neshama. And being cremated is terrible anguish for the neshama too. So even though the person left instruction to be cremated, you're not allowed to listen. But you have to bury him in the ground. God tells Adam was not Jewish, Professor Chaya. Was Adam Jewish? No. God says, Ofar ata vel ofar toshuv. What does God tell Adam? It wasn't Jewish. You come from dust, and to dust you must return. And he wasn't Jewish. Now, even though Yehuda is not one of the 7 Noachide laws, but there is a mitzvah for us, says Nachmanides, to bury even a non-Jew in the ground. You're doing a chesed. It's one of the 613. That's right. To bury every human being in the ground, because only then can the neshama get her place where she has to go.
So you know what?
What?
There's a minhag when someone is being buried.
Yeah.
That other people also put some earth in.
That's right.
Is that because they want to participate?
That's right. It's a nachas for the neshama. The quicker the body is buried with dirt, the quicker the neshama can go home. So therefore, there's a custom that people hand the shovel to other friends to do this chesed shel emet for the niftar. Because the quicker he's buried with dirt, the quicker the neshama can find her place in Olam Haba. That's called a chesed shel emet. Why is it called chesed shel emet? You do a chesed for a live person. You wash my hand, I'll wash yours, right? But you do a chesed for a dead person, you know he can never pay you back. It's a chesed shel emet. There's nothing in it for me except the mitzvah, yes?
And the people who were buried in the wall, what happens to them?
What do you mean the wall?
Walls now without any.
But they do put dirt around the body. They put dirt in it. In the crypt, because they're running out of place. Maddie, Mashiach has to come. There has to be Tchiyat HaMesim because there's no more room. So they're stacking them in Har Menocha, but they put dirt around the body. You put dirt around the body, that's like in the ground. As long as the body is covered with dirt, the neshama can find her place in Olam Haba.
And what about the people who perished in the Holocaust?
Well, the Holocaust, they're Kedoshim. Maimonides says any Jew that's killed because he's a Jew is a Kadosh. He doesn't need any other tikkun. Just because he's killed, he's a Jew, doesn't matter what happens to the body. He gets the highest station in Olam Haba. Any Jew who dies because he's a Jew is called a Kadosh, doesn't matter what he did on earth. He reaches the highest station in Olam Haba. The Neshama goes up right away no matter what happens to the body. Beam me up, no looking back. He's called a Kadosh. Because he died for Kiddush Hashem, even though he's not aware of it. He died because he's a Jew. So there's no higher station in Olam Haba for a person like that.
He doesn't spend 11 months in Canaan either.
No, 11 months, that's the maximum. 12 months, maximum, right? That's the maximum. Therefore, we stopped saying Kaddish after 11 months. Why? Because you don't want to imply that your relative spent the maximum time in Sing Sing. I mean, in hell. Maximum time is 12 months for a Jew. So we stopped saying Kaddish after 11 months. We don't want to imply that what? That he has to be there for 12 months, so we stop after 11. Right? That's a minhag. Yes?
Go back to Sanhedrin. We spoke about...
The uncensored version?
Yeah.
Don't tell Mel Gibson.
No, I don't care about Mel Gibson.
Don't show him this.
But this, from all the stories that I've heard, at least myself,
Yeah.
Romans who were executed, the Sanhedrin, they're the ones who did the execution on him?
Take a look at side number 2. Top line, side number 2. You want to read that? It's underlined in yellow. Do you have that? Side number 2. Af. Have it, Avram? Af. Side number 2. Yeshua HaNotzri. JC Shedima. Shehu Mashiach. He thought he's the Mashiach. V'nerag. Yosef. V'nerag. The Bezdin. Says clearly that the Bezdin executed him. Not the Romans. Again, this is the uncensored version. Maybe you shouldn't publicize this. This is the Rambam Hilchos Malachim, chapter 11, in the uncensored version. You take a look at the Gemara. I don't want to go into it too much. You look at side number 1. See side number 1 again, where it says Gemara. See that? I think it's underlined in yellow, no? Side number 1. V'tanya be'erev Pesach. Talo Yisha Notzri. Talo Yisha Notzri. See that? And they announced Yisha Notzri Yotzel is Sokel. Why is he Chayiv Skila? In Jewish law, a stoned person is hung up because he practiced black magic and he was a Mesis Mediach. Mesis Mediach means that he tried to missionize the Jews away from the Jewish religion, and therefore the Sanhedrin executed him. But after he was dead, then they hung up the body for a short while in a T position, as Unkelos tells us, okay? It's not pleasant, but anyway, this is the uncensored version. What?
This is the source of all the pogroms.
Right.
And also what happened in World War II.
Okay, so make believe you didn't hear it.
So why did they take it out? It was the government that forced them to take it out.
I don't know who took it out. Maybe the Jews took it out, but this... What? I don't know.
Why would they take it out?
But this amazing Rambam here, the top line in the Rambam over here. But anyway, whatever happens is all part of God's plan. Even though we don't understand why God allowed all these pogroms and all, somehow it's leading the world closer, says Maimonides, to the Messianic era. With all of the tzarot and all of the suffering, somehow we're on the long and winding road. And eventually Avram will get there. It's all part of God's plan. Even though we don't understand it. It says, my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Rambam said there is a plan. Even Christianity and Islam is part of God's plan to lead the world eventually to what? To worship one God. Not Judaism. Keep the 7, go to heaven. Yes? When Mashiach comes, they'll throw away the crutch. They won't need the crutch of JC. They won't need that crutch. Now they need the crutch. But there'll come a time when they won't need the crutch anymore. But now, their crutch is the Seder for them, according to Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbeinu Yitzchak, and the Ramah.
2 more questions.
Yes? Sonia?
Just practical application.
What?
Practical
Practical application.
Right.
Somebody's traveling. And
Who's the somebody?
Anybody.
Jew or non-Jew?
Jew.
A Jew is struggling with what?
No, he's traveling.
He's traveling?
And their churches to be seen must.
No, Jews not allowed to go in there. For us, it's Avodah Zarah.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem, everybody agrees that Christianity for us is Avodah Zarah. Baruch Hashem, everybody agrees about that. Machlokas is, what about for non-Jews? But for a Jew to go into a church, he's not allowed to. He's not allowed to go in there. To a mosque is okay.
Yeah?
A mosque is okay. When you daven in the Mosque of Achpelah, the way you're davening. The Mosque of Achpelah, you're davening in a mosque. Do you know that? I remember, before Baruch Goldstein, I won't forget this, 1994, we were davening mincha, and 10 feet away, our cousins were davening. 10 feet away. We're davening in a mosque. The Mosque of Achpelah is a mosque. So Christianity, Islam, everybody agrees Islam is the Seder for them. So to daven in a mosque is not a problem.